Buy and Sell Real Estate Podcast. I'm your host, Frank Garay, here with a very special guest today, Tom DiGiacomo. How's it going, Tom?
Doing great, Frank. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. Thanks for asking. I'm glad we get you on because you've got there's a special event coming up, and I would like everyone in the real estate biz to understand what's going on here, what it is, how it started, and how they can participate. So what's coming up? And it's August 1st, right?
August 1st. In fact, I can share this real quick right here. It's called National Night Out.
Okay.
And we got involved back in 1990. What happened back in 1990 was we were in kind of a market like we're in now, on the quiet side. And of course, we're all trying to struggle. How do we make business happen and things like that? So what happened with us is we have a 7-Eleven that's tucked away in our neighborhood here in Orangeville, Citrus Heights area,
Okay.
Sacramento, and the only 7-Eleven tucked into a residential neighborhood and throughout the whole country. So we have a little specialty going on there. But back in 1990, I'm originally from New York. Okay, so you don't have stuff going south in my neighborhood. And what happened back then is we started having gangs, and we did. Sheriff's Department did identify them as gangs, so we know they were gangs. Hanging out there at that 7-Eleven. It's like on a Friday and Saturday night, you could not even go drive by without having to come to a complete stop because of all the kids hanging out there. And that got to be a big problem. So I got with the owner of the 7-Eleven at that time, and I said, we need to crack heads here and come up with something. I started Neighborhood Watch at that time, and I said, we need to do something here to get this to go away. So we came up with this idea called, actually not called, but we actually put speakers out in front of his store and started playing classical music. Seriously, Frank, it worked. Within a month, they were gone.
No way.
Yes.
So the classical music, it was just something they couldn't get behind, huh? It was just like, I can't deal with this music.
I guess, I don't have the answer to that, but I just know that worked. And what has happened today, here we are 33 years later, is 7-Eleven Corporation has taken that one idea that we had started here throughout the whole country.
Huh.
So when there are issues in 7-Elevens, and I actually experienced that 3 or 4 years after that, and I was in Phoenix at my cousin's house, and on the news, there was something going on with the 7-Eleven. So he told me to come into the room, and he said, they're putting speakers out and they're playing classical music in Phoenix at a 7-Eleven. I go, cuz, you want to know where that started? Hello, yours truly. So anyway, that worked. And so I said, I'm on to something here. There's got to be things that we can do that doesn't cost really anything to make things go away. So then what happened then is they ended up going to our parks in our neighborhood. And we have actually 2 different park districts in our neighborhood. And so I went to both superintendents and I said, you guys got sprinklers in your parks? And they go, yeah. I said, do you have timers on them? And they go, yeah. I said, can you set them to like 10 o'clock at night, curfew? And they did. And next thing you know, and off they went out of the parks. So, wow, we come up with some pretty, easy to go ideas that worked. And that's all I'm trying to say is that you never know. Sometimes the simplest idea can make things happen. So that's what I started there. So I ended up from there. I ended up starting having meetings. I wanted to have neighborhood watch meetings. And when I started the program like that, I said, we don't even know our neighbors next door. So I said, I'm going to go ahead and start knocking on the doors of just the neighbors on my street and see if I can get everybody's names and phone numbers and put together a little street directory. And so I did that. I got help from the title companies. There's where another free service we can get the names of our neighbors, so to speak. So it wasn't hard when I was knocking on those doors and saying, hey, Mrs. Smith, I'm your neighbor down the street. Well, that got out over the fences, and they wanted me to do the streets on both sides of us over here. And then word got out even more and more and more. So it turned out now I'm knocking on the neighborhood. I mean, so just to give you an idea, we're talking over 4,000 homes. And
wow.
I'm back in 1990 when things were so slow, I'm trying to figure this way of how do I get in front of people? How do I get people to, understand what I'm trying to do here and, move forward with this? Well, I ended up getting on all the TV stations, at 3, 4, 10, They all came out here and televised me doing this process. And it was interesting because I'd be wearing my little Century 21 badge, and they
Yeah.
looked at when I first opened the door and they go, "You're not for real." And I said, "I am for real." And once the TV stations got it out, they seen that more in. But I got with our crime prevention specialist and I said, "Can you help me?" I said, "They're not believing in what I'm trying to do here." So she says, "Come with me, go downtown." And she gave me a nice little sheriff's volunteer badge.
No.
Yes.
How cool.
Yeah. So now I had this next to my other badge, and so they would see both, and then he started saying, "Yeah, he's for real." So knocking on doors back in those days, I wasn't saying, "Would you like to buy or sell real estate?" I was knocking on doors saying, "Hey, I'm Tom with the Neighborhood Watch. I'm putting together a street directory of your neighbors, and we'd like to get your name and number so I can get this out to all your neighbors on your street." And
Yeah.
that mushroom that just took off. And so that was a good thing there that I started back in those days. And my point is, real estate was slow. How do you get in front of somebody at a house? You're knocking on doors, because knocking on doors goes back to basics, right? And so I said, how do we get in front of neighbors or so and do something a little bit different? Not ask for buy or sell, ask for a name and number so I can put together a street directory. And that's what I did. From there, the sheriff's department, we have what we call crime prevention specialists. They want us to basically get help. And she's seen at that time that I needed help because I was on a roll.
Hmm.
And so I said, can we so when I was knocking on doors, getting people to give me their names and numbers, I asked them, would you mind helping me? Because I'm putting together a newsletter like this, and this will go out to all your neighbors on your street if you can help me deliver these. So that took off. And now I'm sitting with over 100 streets in the program. Each street has a street coordinator that actually gets this newsletter at their door, and they go ahead and pass them out to the neighbors. And on there, we do have the crime stats every month of what's going on. I don't know if you could see that, but it's
Not really, but it's cool. Yeah, I see it. Yeah, and for those of you that are just listening, not viewing, it's a really cool little newsletter he's got to put together there. And so you deliver this to. There's someone in control of the street. There's like a street coordinator, whatever you said it was, and they get delivered to them, and they go out and hand them out to the neighbors, basically. So you're not doing a mailer. You're not mailing. You're doing a hand delivery type
correct.
of a thing. Yeah.
So that's what I was going to say next. Now, once since 1990, I haven't put a postage stamp on any of these newsletters.
Man.
Been self-delivered going out there. So now, okay, it came to an expense to print these guys up. And back in the 90s, I'm sure you went to, like I went to, many different seminars,
Sure.
and told that, try to put something together that could help go ahead support what you're trying to do. So on the back of my newsletter, I have
Sponsors. Yeah.
sponsors that
Yeah.
help this newsletter. So every month now, 3,000 of these get printed up every month. And they go out to, like I said, over 100 streets in our neighborhood.
And they're all hand delivered.
All hand delivered. Not once do we put a dime, postage stamp. One of the things that I have done, and I don't know where I got this talent though, but one of the things I have done inside the newsletter, I call it a president's report. And I've always come up with something positive in my little column right there. And I don't know where I got this gift or so from that, but I'll tell you, some of the things that I've written in the past, how would you like getting a call from a neighbor and saying, "Hey, Tom, I just read what you wrote in this newsletter. Do you happen to have any extras? I want to send them to my kids in different states that they're in." And I said, "Sure, where do you live?" And I went over there and I handed them how many of them that they needed. But so this goes out not just to the neighbors, but also we have merchants in our area that I put them in places so people can pick them up.
Yeah.
So it goes out and out, out. And there's a whole science in that as far as how that's all processed, let's just say. I mean, it goes from a printer to a lady that counts them out to someone who picks them up from there and takes them to what we call regional coordinators. And then the regional coordinators drop them off to the street coordinators in their region. And that's how it goes out to the neighbors. So it's a chain, so to speak. And it's just been awesome, but not once self-supporting that I have to, paid anything on it.
How often does it go out, Tom?
Once a month.
Okay.
We have neighborhood watch meetings once a month. And when we started this program, like I said, there was a need for that. I ended up going to the local elementary school here and asked them if I could have my meetings in their PE room, and they said sure. So lo and behold, for the first 3 or 4 years, standing room only in this PE room every month
Wow.
because of what was going on in the neighborhood. So you had crime going on, and people come out when there's stuff like that going on. So back in 1994, I was with Prudential Real Estate at that time, and they put out this magazine called Rock Talk. And I don't know how they found me, but the point is that they did an article on me,
Yeah.
how much my business soared 75% in my neighborhood from Neighborhood Watch, and that's how I basically had built my business. So my little farm, well, it's not a little farm, it's 4,000 homes, right? That has basically been my bread and butter. So, yes, this has given me business over and over again. When this went out, it then went out to a magazine that we all got throughout the whole country, and I don't remember what it was called, Real Estate Today or something. And they wrote an article on me. So now I am out to the country, and then I had agents saying, "How do you do this? You know, can you get me started, so to speak?" So I actually put together a coordinator's manual. So anybody that wants to start this, here you go. It's free. I don't charge nobody for it. I'm even paying for the postage. I don't care. Or I could probably just send it on over to an email type thing. But this kind of gives you a step-by-step way of the way it was back then. Now with technology today, I'm sure you could take one of my things I say to do and tweak it to
Sure.
items. So that's how that went. So so today, for instance, National Night Out, like I said, is a national event that goes throughout the whole country. It's when law enforcement, fire departments, sheriffs, police, they want to go and meet and greet the neighbors. So typically, what happens is that let's say your street, you can have like a little block party. That's a simple little thing, and that's what I did my first year. Had a little block party saying, neighbors on my own street, come on over here. We're gonna block up this little half court and have like a little event to meet and greet with you guys. That went real well, and that's why I did that the first year, and I seen the need. I got with the 7-Eleven owner, and I said, "Hey, can we do this in your parking lot next?"
Nice. Yeah.
And next to the 7-Eleven is a vacant field, which we also took over. So we got the vacant field and the 7-Eleven parking lot that we close off that night, and it's just one fun time. So for the first, I'm going to say 15 or so years, the theme was Dunk the President. And since I was a president, we had a dunk tank out there, and here these little kids throwing a ball trying to dunk me. Well, Frank, I'll tell you, when those kids grew up and had kids of their own, that was the time for me to retire out of the dunk tank because I can't do this no more. I just kept on and I couldn't believe it. These guys said, "Wait a minute, weren't you like that yesterday?" Now they got kids of their own, I'm going, this is unbelievable how this is all kind of mushroom and grew like this. So that's what I'm saying. You can have like a little block party. It doesn't cost you nothing to do that. If you want to have like a farm, if you do have a farm, there's no reason why, whoever you are, you buy, realtor, lender, you can do this and block off your street and go ahead and have your little party. That one night, it's always the first Tuesday in August. So next year it's going to be like August 6th, but it's always designated to be the first Tuesday in August. And you still have time to do that. Now, the sheriff's departments, police departments, they want you to register on their site so that they can bring out their officers, so to speak.
Sure. Yeah.
And so you got to go on there. Sometimes they fill up. I don't know. But I mean, just if you did that, now you're on there and they will come out and meet and greet you and the neighbors. So my little event is not little no more. Okay. I mean, I actually have a fire truck that comes out there, hands on for the kids to get on. We have all these games for the kids to play. We have a hot dog meal, like hot dog chips and a soda or a drink for like $2. And the reason for all of that, we have cotton candy, we have a bounce house, we have a DJ in the parking lot that actually we do a hula hoop contest. And that is so cool too, because it's funny to see these sheriffs and police
Hilarious.
trying to do hula
Hilarious.
all that stuff on. But it is so much fun that night, and it has taken off as far as I started back in those days. And I'm just happy that the neighbors came out to make this happen. Another thing, real quick, drug-free zone. Have you heard of drug-free zone?
No.
Okay, drug-free zone is where you designate an area, and it has to fit within the guidelines of the zone. And there's stuff on that, information on that. And if you are within a drug-free zone, what happens is that if there was someone that gets caught with drugs or whatever, okay, they're supposed to get stiffer penalties.
Mm.
That's the way it's supposed to work. So we tried this when we first started, like for the first 6, 7 years. I seen that this was going somewhere. I said, let's try to see if we can make this a drug-free zone. And it turned out, yes, we were able to do that. So now we were able to had to get these signs, drug-free zone signs, to put on every street coming into our quadrant. So we found out through the county it was going to cost us $1,600 to get these signs.
Hmm.
Okay, great. How do we get $1,600? So we shared the idea. A lot of people said, why don't you ask your advertisers on your newsletter, see if merchants can help you, yada, yada. I said, no, why don't we have all our street coordinators, when they're passing out the newsletter, ask them to knock on the door and ask that neighbor for $1 for the drug-free zone sign. $1. So what that ended up doing was getting a neighborhood participating into something they thought was valuable. And I wasn't just getting $1. I was getting 5s, 10s, 20s. Okay. So it turned out on that one little thing we did, we raised something like $2,600.
Yeah.
We only needed $1,600. So I said, okay, we got the money. So now I gave that order to the county. County never had an order that big. So I went to our county supervisor, and basically we were able to get that order filled and the signs up. So now we've been a drug-free zone since like 1997 or something like that.
How neat.
Yeah. And the thing is that we have challenged the district attorney on those stiffer penalties when someone has gotten caught. And there's all these loopholes, but it hasn't happened yet. And I have been saying to my neighbors that the day that this happens, that someone does get the stiffer penalties, that's the day I'm retiring.
Mm. Yeah.
Because I did my mission in life.
Yeah, right.
Wow.
So
yeah. So another thing that just happened yesterday, which was very interesting, it doesn't cost you nothing to do this event, because you can have neighbors, a potluck. They all bring their little thing. You're just spearheading it.
Yeah.
And you see where it goes the first time, and then take it, there year after year after year. They're going to get to start knowing who you are and what you do. So that's really important when you get to that point. So another thing that I do in this neighborhood is a Christmas light contest. So during Christmas time, all these neighbors, they're involved in this contest, and each street we have a winner. And the winner gets a nice, beautiful colored plaque, in a frame.
Yeah.
So what happens is we ask for the volunteers in November. Starting the 1st of December to the 15th, we have the volunteers go out and judge the contest, the streets that I give them. They came back to me with the winners. Now on the 16th to 24th of December, no one's working, right?
Yeah.
And I'm knocking on doors. I'm knocking on those doors, giving everybody their certificate who won the contest.
Yeah. How neat.
It's like the Publishers Clearinghouse. These guys are waiting for me to come to their home. I'll go to our local, Lowe's and stuff in our neighborhood here, and someone will come up to me out of a clear blue and say, "Hey, Tom, I'm buying more Christmas lights because we're going to win this year." This is what we also developed. There again, doesn't cost you nothing to do this, and you can find a way of making yourself more farmable kind of thing in your neighborhood. What I loved about that is when I knocked on those doors with those certificates, they would open the door and they go, "Hey, Tom, how's real estate?"
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I just accomplished two things that are the hardest things to get across to,
Yeah.
your friends and family and neighbors. And
Tom.
so that's something that's worked real well, and it's been very successful. So I'm sharing ideas that are free, that are just a matter of time. that you can get yourself known in your own little neighborhood or wherever farm that you're having and start something.
It's wonderful. Tom, I can't thank you enough. I'm speechless, to tell you the truth. I don't even know what to say. The whole journey from how you started and how it developed and how you went from one thing to the next thing, the classical music, the 7-Eleven, the everything is just such a neat story and a neat journey. And where you are now with National Night Out and how people can participate in that. I just congratulations, Tom. Congratulations. What a neat thing. And what a community leader you are. That's just absolutely notable and commendable, Tom. I'm blown away, brother. Hey, let me ask you this, Tom.
Yeah.
For the real estate people that might be listening, and you said that they could reach out to you and maybe get the manual on kind of how to get started. What's the best way for them to reach you?
Well, they can email me, I guess.
What's the email? I'll make sure it's in the YouTube descriptor.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
What's the email?
I'll spell it to you. I'll lay it out to you. Okay, it's
Yeah.
Tom Agent, TOMAGENT at, and it's my first and last name. Tom, TOM, D like in dog, IGIACOM like in Mary, .com.
There you go.
TomDiGiacomo.com. So
TomDiGiacomo.com.
one of the things that I I can tell you, I'm very passionate about this and what I've been doing all these years. But this just didn't start then. This started when I was a little kid, and I'll share my story real quick. Back in those days, do you remember a thing called the cerebral palsy telethon?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we had my dad's friend, kid had a cerebral palsy, and every year I always wanted to figure a way to contribute to cerebral palsy telethon. So I started in my backyard a carnival. I would get dressed up as a clown. I used to play the accordion, and I'd get out there and get the neighbors on our street to come out and give us $1 or $2, so I can send that over to cerebral palsy telethon. So I made this carnival type of effect, and that's what I did back in those days. Here I am now at my age of 72, I think it is, and about 5 years ago, one of our neighbors, they had all these games and stuff that they were using for an event that they were doing all these years. So he called me and says, Tom, do you want these games? Because we're just going to throw them away. You might need them for National Night Out. And I went, sure, I'll come and get them. Well, when I went over there to pick them up, they had two, and I have it on my desktop. They have two wooden carved out carnival type of
Statues?
like a statue, but of a carnival. I mean, you can look at that and say, that's carnival.
Yeah.
So when I looked at those, I went, wow, here I am, 5 or 6 years old, 7 years old, carnival. Here I am today, 72. They brought carnival back in my life. And so
Neat
now
story.
those two things are right at the entrance of our ticket booth area.
Yeah.
And I look at those every year, and I went, wow, I went full circle.
That is so neat, Tom. What an awesome story. Let me ask you this, Tom. For those who might be watching or listening to the podcast who might need someone in your area, what areas do you serve as far as real estate is concerned?
Sacramento area.
Sacramento area?
Sacramento County, Placer County, El Dorado County.
If there's anyone looking to buy or sell a home in those areas, Tom, what's the best way for somebody to get a hold of you? If they just really grew to love you like I have in 20 minutes, and they feel like Tom's my guy, how do they reach you, Tom? What's the best way for a customer?
Cell phone number. You can reach me on my cell, which is 916-606-7462.
Excellent. Good stuff.
Tom,
just so great, Tom. I can't even believe how fun this one was. I didn't have to say a thing. You stole the show, and in a very, very cool way, and just such a golly, man, just neat stuff. I'm just so impressed with you, Tom. How do you say it?
DiGiacomo.
DiGiacomo. Tom DiGiacomo.
Frank, I forgot one more thing.
One more thing. We'll go. What do you got?
I mean, this is serious business too. About 5 or 6 years when I was into the program doing this, I was just trying to make this neighborhood safe again. All right. But then Sacramento Bee started doing a study of why people buy in a neighborhood. And I've always thought that schools would be the number one reason why people would buy in a neighborhood. Well, when I looked at that list, believe it or not, the number one reason why people buy in any neighborhood throughout the country is safe neighborhoods.
Mm.
That tied right into what I've been doing. And when I seen that, I went, wow, this is coming full circle here.
Yeah.
Not me. This is the study that the Sacramento Bee had done on why people are buying in neighborhoods.
Yeah.
Where did that lead into? And I'll give you a good example. I have a listing in my neighborhood. When I'm over there, let's say looking at the listing, going over there, I might see an agent at the house, right, with a buyer. So when I do that, I always keep these newsletters in my car. So I ran out to the car, I got a newsletter, I go back and I say, give this to your potential buyer, because if they buy this house, this is what they're going to get at their front door every month. I'd hear this over and over again as far as their response. They would say, Tom, they already checked the sheriff's department, they already checked the police department, and they know that this is a safe neighborhood. That's why they want to buy here.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's all part of marketing, if you want to, how you want to call it. But I mean, I think it's just all proven fact that this program it works.
It does.
Yeah, it works. It takes work to make it happen.
Yeah.
But what are you doing? I mean, what is it, agents out there doing? They're trying to do something when nothing's really going on right now. This is the best way of, I think, the best way of.
You're engaging with people directly. You're engaging with people face to face. You're bringing them something of, with that term, something of value gets kicked around all the time. But in this case, it really, really is something of great value. And it's a remarkable thing that you've put together. Once again, Tom, congratulations. It's very, very cool. Great to meet you in this capacity and understand what you've got going on. And I think anybody who's listening or watching would have to go, got to hand it to Tom. He kicked butt on this one. This is a good one. Yeah, it's really, really cool. So we'll put the contact information for you down below. And if you guys want to engage with Tom, whether you're a real estate agent or whether you're a consumer.
Lender, doesn't matter.
Yeah, lender, whatever. If you just want to engage with Tom, you want to get involved, if you'd like to work with Tom, as a real estate agent, his contact information is all down below. Tom, I can't thank you enough, my friend. Thanks for being on the podcast. It's been a great pleasure.
All right. Thanks for having me.
All right. Don't leave, Tom. I'm going to say goodbye, but don't leave. All right. So for everybody else out there, just thanks for tuning in. Do us a favor, subscribe to get more. We'd love that. Share if you would, especially this show. This has been a really good one. Please share this with everyone you know. This would be a really good one to share. And come back again to the Buy and Sell Real Estate podcast, where we do this pretty much, I don't know, every week, every couple of weeks, 2 times a week, whatever we do. But come back again and again, and we'll talk to you guys later. We'll see you next time.